Welcome on board Amtrak's most iconic train,
the California Zephyr.
Join us over the next 3 days as we cross the U.S. We'll spend one day in every Amtrak accommodation,
coach, roomette, bedroom,
to find out what it's like to live, eat, and sleep on board, and which is worth your money.
Hello, Jet Setters. I'm Jeb Brooks from greenergrass.com. This is the definitive guide to Amtrak rooms, and you're coming along.
You see, there are 3 main accommodation types on Amtrak sleeper trains, from least expensive to most expensive. That's coach, roomettes, and bedrooms. And on this nearly 2,500-mile journey, we'll try them all and show you exactly what you can expect from each one. Here's the plan. We'll leave Emeryville, just outside San Francisco, and travel in coach for 7 hours to Reno. We'll get out there and wait 24 hours for the next train, where we'll try a roomette to make the 26-hour journey over to Denver. We'll get out again for another break before getting back on board, this time in a bedroom for the final 19-hour push into Chicago. All in, that's 52 hours to put Amtrak accommodations to this ultimate test.
The first step in this cross-country Amtrak adventure is to pick up a coach from here in downtown San Francisco out to Emeryville, where the Zephyr commences. So that's what we're headed to do right now.
The coach arrived right on time. We dropped off our bags to be loaded onto the bus, boarded, and 20 minutes later, pulled into Emeryville.
Well, we made it to Emeryville. Now, our first leg today is in coach onto Reno. So we're going to check our bags just because it's one less thing to worry about and collect them when we get to Reno. Not every station offers that service, but fortunately here in Emeryville and then also in Reno, you can do it. Unfortunately, we're not getting out of here on time. The train is already delayed an hour, so we'll just hang out at the station. Fortunately, there's some stuff around to explore a bit, but unfortunately, we are already delayed. We haven't even left Emeryville. We'll get out of here when we get out of here. This is part of Amtrak.
Back inside, there's a small coffee shop, but word to the wise, they only take cash. We went across the street for better prices and a credit card machine.
If you're riding coach on Amtrak for a significant distance, it might make sense to pick up some food to bring along in advance. The cafe food can get kind of old and kind of repetitive. We're just on it for the day, so I just picked up something fresh to go along with our lunch on board at the cafe.
The time flew by, and before we knew it, our train appeared.
It's time. Let's board this train.
Once we got the go-ahead, we boarded the train. When we bought our tickets, we opted for seats upstairs to maximize the views. While most seats are on the upper level, you can also choose to be downstairs if stairs just aren't for you. And we'll discuss pricing as we continue the journey. Coach passengers are assigned cars based on where they're going, so all of us are stopping, I guess, in Reno or thereabouts in this car. That allows them to not disturb passengers who might be going further. We don't have to wake up in the middle of the night. So conductor gave us a card like this to hang above our seat and identify where we are. So we're in the very last row of the very last train car on this consist.
Good morning, folks, and welcome aboard California Zephyr, train number 6, bound for Chicago.
And we're off. Amtrak coach seats are large and comfortable, and just as with the other types of accommodations we'll be sampling on this trip, we'll be sure to measure it and show you around everything, but I'm too relaxed at the moment.
We're in the rail zone now.
Oh, hi. Amtrak's coach seat is absolutely incredible. There is so much space. Well, first of all, the recline is massive. Second of all, you've got this incredible leg rest coupled with this great footrest. This seat in general is tremendously comfortable. There is no airline seat, certainly in the United States, in terms of even first class, that even comes close to this. Not a lot of privacy, of course. You're exposed, but certainly comfortable. The only criticism I'd have of it, which is barely a criticism, is the plugs. You're sharing these with your neighbor, so if it's somebody you don't know, you're going to have to sort of be aware of crossing your cords, I guess you could say. But overall, this is a fantastic seat. I'm excited about 7 hours in Amtrak coach today.
It's time for the greenergrass tape measure, and this is going to stretch it to the limit. I just know. 44 inches, 18 inches wide, 27 inches.
With so much space, it was easy to get comfortable and enjoy the California countryside.
Well, it's noon. You want to head up to lunch?
Let's do it.
We made our way forward to the Sightseer Lounge.
If you're a coach passenger on Amtrak, you got 3 options for eating and drinking. Option number 1, bring your own food and drink. The only thing you're not allowed to bring is your own alcohol. Option number 2, can buy food at the cafe car. And option number 3, space permitting, you might be able to buy a seat in the dining car. For lunch today, that would have been about $25 a person.
But we chose option number 2, and that means grabbing some food in the cafe, which is located downstairs in the Sightseer Lounge. Here, you'll find a variety of hot and cold options. We went for hot dogs and shared a bag of chips. Suzanne added a Diet Coke, and I had a bottle of water. All in, that came to $16.75 for lunch.
Do I put mayonnaise on a hot dog? Yes, I do. Is that strange? Yes, it is. Do I care? No, I do not. Don't save tables in the Sightseer Lounge. That's just not cool. Like, you're either here or you're not. I'm not a fan of saving tables. That just doesn't seem right to me.
After lunch, we made our way back to our car. In Coach, downstairs, you'll find shared bathrooms, which are kept reasonably clean, but there are no showers in Coach. There's also plenty of storage for luggage.
Fitting our luggage down here would have been no problem, but it was nice to check it because we had the option, and it's one less thing, as I said, to worry about. But getting your bag in here is not a problem, especially if you're starting where the train commences, as we did.
Back in our seats, we settled in for the best part of any Amtrak journey, just taking in the sights.
I think one of the coolest parts about Amtrak is seeing these various stations. Davis has a beautiful station, a really good looking one.
Soon enough, though, we were pulling into our first fresh air break of the day. These stops, which are usually around 20 minutes or so, allow work to be done to the train and for passengers to get off and get some fresh air.
Welcome to Sacramento. That's 2 hours down, 50 more to go.
I'd take any chance to stretch my legs. See ya.
Learn from my mistakes, by the way. If you come to a fresh air break and you're in Coach, get off the train as soon as it stops. Don't wait, as we just did, because you'll be fighting everybody coming onto the train. It's a lot better if you just get off right when the train stops.
But we weren't in Sacramento very long. We got back on and the train pulled out of the station. Soon, we were climbing into the Sierra Nevada mountains, a true highlight of any journey on board the California Zephyr. These mountains were once practically impenetrable for European settlers, but today, they merely present a few hours of pleasant views to passengers like us. As the afternoon wore on, we decided to grab a snack from the cafe.
An afternoon beer, something salty, just hits different on Amtrak.
Certainly does.
When the snow got deeper, we headed back to the Sightseer Lounge, which is open to everyone on the train. Our arrival in Truckee, California was the last stop before we'd reach Reno.
1 hour to Reno, which means we're almost done with the first phase of this Amtrak adventure across the country. Successful so far.
The Zephyr is only 2 nights, and we wanted to experience both the roomette and the bedroom on the overnight legs, which is why we're not spending a night here in Coach.
Well, that is leg 1 of this Amtrak adventure across the country. Behind us, Suzanne, what did we pay for that leg?
Our coach leg was $104 total, including the bus from San Francisco, so $52 per person. We're going to be talking a lot more about price differences between these different classes as we go along on this trip.
Well, for now, though, it's time for 24 hours in the biggest little city in the world, Reno, before we're back on board the next leg in a roomette.
We collected our bags, waved goodbye to the train, and made our way up to the street level.
Somehow that feels kind of wrong. I feel like I should not have, I should have been back on the train. Anyway, whatever. This is a new kind of Amtrak travel for me anyway. People sometimes ask whether you can get out on an Amtrak trip, and of course you can. You just have to wait for the next train, which is usually the next day. And that's what we're doing here, and it's just loads of fun to explore a town like Reno, a place I think we might not come otherwise. So another win for Amtrak.
So what should you expect in terms of delays on Amtrak? There have been times we've been perfectly on schedule. There have been times we've been delayed up to like 6 hours. There have been times our train's totally canceled. So plan for anything.
Speaking of those delays, well, we just found out our train is delayed an hour. So rather than head here to the station, we're gonna go to a brewery here in Reno. Let's check it out.
The Depot Brewery and Distillery was the perfect place to kill a little time before our departure. It's in an old railway headquarters after all.
That was a great little interlude. The train's about 30 minutes out, so it's time to head to the station and get the next leg of this journey started. We're off to Denver in a roomette.
No matter what type of room you're in, it's a great idea to bring your own snacks on Amtrak. I just popped into this market to pick up a couple snacks. Lucky enough to find lemon-flavored salted prunes.
Our train is due in on these tracks any minute now.
This part of the trip in a roomette is going to be between Reno and Denver. taken about 25.5 hours, covering up almost 1,200 miles. We paid $763 for the both of us for this roomette on this leg of the journey.
Next stop, Denver.
We were assigned car number 632, which we quickly found and boarded. After dropping off our bags, we headed upstairs, where we found our room, number 5.
Good to be settled into roomette number 5, and we'll take a look around the whole thing tomorrow. For now, though, it's time to get out of Reno and then get some dinner.
Shortly after stepping in, our room attendant arrived and said we could go directly to the dining car, which is exactly what we decided to do. Roomettes and bedrooms include all your meals, which are served here. Now, also all soft drinks are included, and each passenger can enjoy one alcoholic beverage with dinner.
In all of the first class sleeper accommodations, that could be a roomette like this or a bedroom, all of your meals are included. That's breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And the food's pretty good, it's pretty decent. So now we are fully underway out of Reno in our very own roomette.
We stepped out, and our room attendant transformed the roomette into its nighttime configuration, which includes 2 beds. We'll explore and measure it all in the morning.
I'm just going to go ahead and put it out there. Suzanne, will you please take the top bunk?
I will take the top bunk. It is a cozy space, but I will say, compared to Coach, this is all ours, our own private space. It is quite a treat.
Our room's turned down, and it's almost time for bed.
Even with the beds down in this room, there's still some space to sit and hang out. There's a little bit of head clearance here. Not too bad.
Not that much.
About 8 hours later, I was up and feeling grateful for the coffee available in the hallway for all sleeper passengers.
Early mornings here in the Sightseer Lounge are always nice. Suzanne's still asleep, so I decided to head out here. It's about 6:45 in the morning. Roomette was super comfortable and had enough room for the 2 of us to sleep well. Now, moving around in there with 2 people is definitely a challenge, which I don't think is going to be the case with bedroom, but time will tell.
The sun was rising over Utah, and soon, so was Suzanne. Her 72.5-inch bed was long enough, but how'd she sleep?
It wasn't the best night of sleep on Amtrak, but it wasn't the worst. The thing about this bed, top bunk here, is it's very narrow. Let's find out just how narrow. The actual bed width, 22.5 inches, so under 2 feet. It's pretty narrow up here. You can't really sit upright up here. It's about 24 inches clearance here. Now let's check the lower bunk.
And this lower bunk is 77 inches long and 28 inches wide. And in terms of headroom, there's a little bit more down here, obviously, and that totals up to 33.5 inches of headroom here. So certainly roomier than the upper bunk, which is why I'm unspeakably grateful to Suzanne for taking it.
We remained in the roomette for a while, sipping coffee and enjoying the views of Utah as the sun continued to rise over this beautiful winter morning. But soon, it was time for breakfast, so we headed that way. After breakfast, we headed here to the Sightseer Lounge.
No matter if you choose coach or a sleeper room, these views are always included.
Nearly time for our first fresh air break of the day here at Grand Junction.
It always feels good to get off the train, but especially when the weather is as nice as it is here in Grand Junction. This is an absolutely picture-perfect day.
And departing Grand Junction seems like the perfect time to tour our roomette.
Come on in. Welcome to our Amtrak roomette. Now, the door closes and locks from the inside, and you've also got a curtain for some more privacy. Now, the seating itself is really comfortable. These have been reupholstered, and I think that's adding a nice touch in here. There's a table here, which is useful for maybe dining or just getting some work done or playing cards, whatever you might be wanting to do here. In terms of lighting, there is a ceiling light up top, and that's controlled here, along with a couple of reading lights, which are also controlled here. There's also a call button in case we need help from our room attendant. It is a little tight for 2 people, and I say that because we've got our backpacks, which we want to keep with us, and unfortunately during the day, we've got to kind of put those on this step, which at night will be used to climb up into the top bunk. Now, there's also a hook over here to have a bag hanging or something like that. So we've got some things we need there. Unfortunately, like so many Amtrak rooms, there just aren't enough plugs for today's travelers. There's only one for the both of us in this room. Now, we can make it work because we have a converter, but just keep that in mind if you're booking a roomette. You'll only have one plug. There's also a trash can and a closet, which is a perfect place to store our coats. Let's look at the roomette by the numbers. This is the greener grass measuring tape. So the seat itself is pretty wide at a whopping 27.5 inches. 38 inches from the back of the seat to where Suzanne's seat starts, 38 inches. Now, then but in the sort of leg room between them is 21 inches. Now, how wide is a roomette? Well, from the window to the door, 45.5 inches. So if you're in a roomette with somebody, I hope you know them well.
You'll have noticed there's no sink or toilet in a roomette. There are shared facilities to be used among the roomette passengers, one upstairs and multiple ones downstairs. There's also one shower room downstairs to be shared amongst us. I've never had any issues finding an open and available restroom, and they've also been very clean throughout the journeys. Towels are included with each roomette if you want to take a shower or wash up, and your sheets are also included, sheets and pillows. Having 2 adults in a roomette is definitely kind of snug. It's like kind of a careful choreography to work around each other and our stuff, especially when the beds are down. However, you can definitely make it work. Here's one tip I have. We left our luggages downstairs. There's definitely no room for luggage in this room. So bring your kind of essentials in a bag. This has my pajamas and some toiletries in here, so I don't have to go rifling through my luggage every time I need something.
Now, it's worth noting that the Zephyr, like most of the Western Amtrak trains, is operated by 2-level superliners. On most of the East Coast trains, though, you'll find viewliners with 1 level and slightly different designs. But for now, it's time for lunch.
From time to time, we get comments from viewers who are kind of disappointed in their own Amtrak experience. Sometimes they say it was late, it was dirty, it was, not up to date, not what they were expecting. So before you take an Amtrak trip on your own, no matter what class you choose, set your expectations. Get ready for an adventure. That's the biggest thing that Amtrak can provide, is an adventure.
We're about to our next fresh air break. This is Glenwood Springs, also a really important stop for the Rocky Mountaineer. This is where Rocky Mountaineer passengers in the Rockies to Red Rocks route overnight.
The scenery on the Zephyr is spectacular. This is my first Zephyr trip. I haven't seen it all so far, but this has to be the most scenic Amtrak route.
Well, I'm glad you brought it up because it's about to get even better. I think this section from here in Glenwood Springs out to Denver is going to be absolutely mind-blowing. This is the section of the trip that I would recommend you take. Speaking of, let's go grab some seats in the observation car. What do you say?
We'll definitely want it for this part of the trip.
Let's go.
The scenery impressed as soon as we pulled out of the station. And we even spotted the westbound Zephyr on its way into Glenwood Springs. But what was even more impressive was the sheer amount of wildlife we spotted along this section.
So now that we've been in this roomette about 24 hours now, what are some of your thoughts, Jeb?
I think it's a comfortable space. It's really well designed. I think it's great for 2 people who know each other well. You wouldn't want to be in here with a stranger, and of course Amtrak wouldn't book you in here with a stranger.
I really do think it's a great value at kind of this entry level into the sleeper area. You still get the full benefits of the meals with this smaller space. And really the restrooms have not been an issue at all.
Soon, we entered the 6.2-mile-long Moffett Tunnel. It took us 10 minutes to get through, and at 9,239 feet above sea level, it's also the highest point on the entire route.
Well, that was the world-famous Moffett Tunnel. Before our arrival into Denver tonight, it's time for dinner. Now, as a reminder, all meals are included with sleeper car accommodations.
And there's no way I'd pass up another Amtrak steak. The lights of Denver appeared, and we were off the train.
Well, we've made it to Denver, and that's a wrap on the roomette. Suzanne, how much did this cost?
This leg costs us $763 for the two of us.
Tomorrow is the big finale, I guess you'd say. We'll be back on board in a bedroom. So let's take 24 hours here in Denver.
We'll see you tomorrow.
After a great night of sleep in a hotel and a spirited round of our favorite sport, mini golf, we walked back over to the station.
Believe it or not, the train is running early today, so wasn't quite 24 hours, but we'll take it. Headed to the station to board the California Zephyr onward to Chicago, this time in a bedroom.
Today's last and final leg is going to take us about 19 hours and a little bit of over 1,000 miles to go between Denver and Chicago. We paid $977 for the both of us to be in this bedroom today. I will say, after almost 24 hours off the train and a night in a hotel, I feel very refreshed, very rejuvenated, ready to get back on board in that bedroom. Cheers to the Amtrak bedroom.
Gotta love a local craft brew here in Denver. After a great few minutes here at Union Station, it's time to get on the train. Let's go to Chicago.
Here it is, good old number 6.
Just had our tickets scanned, and now it's time to board. We're in room E in the 631 car, which I think puts us closest to the dining car, which in my mind is a good thing.
Wow, okay, this is a little old school. It has the old upholstery, not the nice new upholstery we had the last 2 trains. But what a space, it feels very spacious compared to the Roomette. Also, Jeb will be very happy to see that there's 2 pillows per person. What a luxury!
Call me a happy camper.
Back on board that eastbound California Zephyr.
Well, we're on board. This is our bedroom, and we'll check it out in more detail tomorrow. But for now, it's time for dinner. Let's go.
We arrived in the dining car just as the train pulled out of Denver's Union Station. I couldn't pass up yet a third Amtrak steak, but for Suzanne, it was all about the pasta.
Got a room turned down. Our sleeping car attendant asked us if we wanted 1 bed or 2.
More space for everybody is a win.
Oh, so you're going in top bunk?
Yeah. Well, settled in after a great dinner on Amtrak. It's time for bed, but I think maybe we can watch a movie before we do that. Is that okay?
It is nice to have this larger bunk to kind of hang out in a little bit before bed, or maybe catch a bit of a movie. I will say, in terms of the bedroom, it is really nice to have your own bathroom, especially at night. In the Roomette, I was like, where are my shoes? Gotta put my shoes on and go to the bathroom. This is right in your room, so convenient.
I guess for now, we're going to say goodnight to you. So, see you tomorrow.
She kindly caved and gave me the bottom bunk.
It's about 6:15 Central Time, so early in the morning. Observation car is pretty much empty, and I'm ready to start the day. Suzanne's still sleeping, so I'll have to wait to get the full report on how the sleep was in the bedroom. But for now, it's time to just enjoy this slow, steady sunrise over the American Midwest.
But before too long, I got a text she was awake.
Well, first of all, how'd you sleep?
I would rate it as poor.
Why is that?
What did you say about your sleep?
Last night was not the best sleep I've ever had by any stretch on Amtrak.
I think what you got to know about sleeping in a bedroom is that you're sleeping perpendicular to the direction of travel. So you're swaying back and forth like this. Unlike the Roomette, you're sleeping parallel with the direction of travel. So it's like maybe a more pleasant rocking feeling. This feels a little bit unstable up here especially.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment.
Another thing you might want to know about is quiet hours on Amtrak. They start at 10 p.m. and they go till 7 a.m. There is in the bedroom a knob that controls the volume of the announcements, so you won't be hearing as much, but you still hear it from the hallway. The walls are thin, so just something to know about. 10 to 7 is your window for sleep, basically.
Well, let's see how big these beds are, though. What do you say we check the measurements?
Let's check it out. This top bunk is definitely wider than the Roomette. Let's just check it out and see what it measures it at. Get this out of the way and make it very scientific. We are at 28 inches. 28 inches wide, and that's in comparison to about the 22 that the Roomette was, so definitely a lot roomier. Let's check the headroom here. It is about, I'll call it 24 and a half. So really I cannot definitely sit up.
Now, let's check out this bottom bunk. It's certainly roomier than the upper bunk. There can be no doubt about that. See the headroom first. Wow, we're gonna call that 32 and a half inches, which is enough to sit up for me. So pretty good, pretty good. In terms of width, 40
40 inches wide, and length, I'm gonna have to really stretch the old tape measure. 74 inches. The bed is 74 inches long, both upper and lower, 74 inches, which is a pretty good length if you ask me. Another component that you want to consider with the bedroom is this space here. As you can see, the sink and toilet are in here, and then you've got just this narrow gap to get through. And so you got to either climb over the bed or be willing to squeeze through a section that is, I'm going to call it about 7 inches from here to here. So that's pretty tight. But it's really only a factor when the bed's down.
But enough about all that. It's time for breakfast.
Welcome to Ottumwa, Iowa, the 6th of 7 states in the Zephyr.
Which makes this the perfect time for a tour of our bedroom.
Oh, come on in. Welcome to the Superliner bedroom. This space is massive and has pretty much everything you could imagine. There's this area here with the sink, which is great for, obviously brushing our teeth and getting ready at night or in the morning. It's a fantastic space for that. Down below, there's a trash can along with storage for towels. If you're in a roomette or a bedroom, all your sheets and towels are included. Now, back behind here is perhaps the greatest advantage of the bedroom, and that's the fact that you have your own ensuite.
If you're in a bedroom, you're going to shower on the train. This little bar of soap is all that is provided, so you might want to bring your own shampoo, conditioner, bubble bath, whatnot. For the record, do not take a bubble bath on Amtrak, just to let you know.
My favorite thing about the bedroom is this chair, because it gives you a great place to sit down, relax, and just watch the world go by. But like most people who travel in bedrooms, there's more than one of us, and that's why this giant sofa, nice place to get comfortable and enjoy the journey as well. It's possible for one person to take a nap in here during the day when it's not in bedtime mode. Here you've got temperature control and a plug. There's also a closet here. The bedroom in general is a super comfortable space. There's plenty of storage, and it's easy to get comfortable in here.
For the sake of giving you a complete view of the rooms on board, here's a peek inside the family bedroom, which you'll find downstairs in a Superliner. It's larger than our bedroom, but does not have an ensuite. You'll also find an accessible bedroom down here for passengers unable to climb the steps.
Might be time to prune up. We're trying the lemon-flavored salted plum. Only ever had plain prunes before, so this is going to be interesting. Ooh, they have seeds in them. Whoops. They are incredibly salty, like very, very salty. 38% of your daily sodium. That's how salty they are. Also, another ingredient in here is chili. They don't really advertise that. They advertise the lemon and the salt, but not the chili. It's a little spicy.
This is a sense of just how much space you get in a bedroom. As you can see, it's significantly larger than the roomette.
As you can kind of see from this map, the width of a bedroom is almost the whole width of a car, while a roomette really takes up half the car.
Always an exciting moment. We are about to cross the mighty Mississippi River.
Time for one final lunch before our verdict on which is best.
I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Amtrak is 3 things in one. I think first of all, it's public transportation. It's a means for getting from one place to another, and a lot of people simply use it for that. But it's also a bit of an amusement park ride. There's a fun element to traveling by train that is just hard to describe until you've done it. And then the third component, I think, could be the most important piece, and that's that it's a national treasure. There's just something amazing about the continuity of connecting this country on the rails that Amtrak continues to honor and celebrate.
We shared what we paid for each leg, but unless you decide to break up your trip the way we did, that's not as relevant as the price for the entire trip. Now here's some sample pricing for the entire Zephyr route from San Francisco out to Chicago. It's important to note that pricing can vary drastically depending on season, how full the train is, how early you book, so these are just an example. In general, of the sleeper accommodations, the roomette ends up being a better value, especially if you're a solo traveler. But even for 2 people, it's a bit hard to justify double the price for a bedroom, unless maybe it's a special occasion or you're in need of the extra space and ensuite. We prefer not to travel for 2 nights in coach and feel very fortunate to have the means to experience the sleepers, but coach is definitely the best deal available on the train. But for the cheapest and fastest transcontinental option, you'll be looking to the airlines. And I can see the skyline. We are almost there. Between now and the next time, see you on the rails.
It's appealing to my olfactory senses, really.
When did you learn the word olfactory?
Yesterday. Your head's blocking the Reno sign.
Here in Reno.
I just stopped at this market here to pick up a couple sundries. Sundries, I don't say sundries.
I can't wait to get on the rails again.
Centimeters. How do you do this? This is
Instagram versus reality.
Settle a debate. Is that Grand Mesa or is that Grand Mesa?
Hey, Jeb, what's the first thing you want to do off Amtrak?
Pizza!